All right, hello boys and girls. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a sunset and water with reflection. And then we are going to paint some land, and I'm going to do palm trees. Now when you do your painting, you might choose something different to put in there, like a sailboat or people in the water, that kind of thing. So first thing, we are going to draw a line on our paper, and I would put it fairly, it could be in the middle or it could be a little ways up from the middle. Okay, that's gonna be our horizon line. So that's where our sunset is gonna sit on the water. And we're gonna use warm colors in our sky area. So I've picked up my yellow and I'm gonna let it float across. Float, float, float. I'm using acrylic, so that's a heavier paint. So I have to kind of brush it kind of hard, and it kind of even makes a noise. You know, you might hear a kind of scrapey sound. If you're using watercolor, you'll have a different effect. Your brush will kind of float across your paper, okay? Another warm color is orange. So I'm gonna kind of get it laid on there, and then I'm gonna blend it in and keep going back and forth. And you're like, well, that looks kind of messy. But you know what? When you look at the sky in the evening, when the sun's setting, it's forever changing. Every second it changes a little bit. So, you know, 1 minute it might look one way, and then that orange might move down and it gets darker. I'm gonna go back with just a little yellow and come back in to my orange and blend. So it just means that I'm taking my yellow and just kind of stroking some in there with the orange, okay? My next color is another warm color. I am going to use what I call magenta. And it's, if you want to make this, it's really a red violet. So you would take quite a bit of red and put just a little dot of blue in it. And if you mix those two colors, then you're gonna get this color. Okay, it's called red violet. And again, I'm kind of blending it in, a little bit into my orange, okay? And then our next color, I'm gonna go ahead and use a deep purple up here. Okay, and it's gonna blend into my red violet. So it just gives us this idea that, oh, nighttime is coming when that sun sets, okay? So it's a little bit darker up there. So that's what we've got to lay in our sky, okay? And now we're gonna take a blue and we are gonna do our water. And I would use sort of a medium to light blue if you're using watercolors. Just load your brush up good with your blue in your palette. And you're gonna go all the way across, blue, 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 all the way down. And again, I'm gonna stay horizontal. And if you have acrylic paints like I'm using, they're thick and they come in little bottles or tubes, you will want to paint quick. You can paint quick, load your brush up real good, keep it moving. I'm working on paper, not canvas. And if you're using your acrylics on paper, they are going to soak in quite quickly. So you'll, again, want to keep your brush moving, load it up real good, and go all the way down to the bottom of your paper. There we go. And if I have a few little white places in my blue, I'm okay with that because the water moves. And when the water moves, you get that effect. It looks lighter and darker. Now we're gonna come back and do what's reflection. So I'm gonna let that dry just a few seconds. Now, if you're using watercolor, you might need to let it sit for a little bit. I'm gonna bump my sun in there. So there's my sun. We'll go ahead and put it in. And then right in front of the sun, I'm gonna draw just these streaks in my water. But notice how I'm leaving the blue in between? So I'm just gonna put those in. And that's how the water is reflecting our yellow. Water's kind of like a mirror, isn't it? So we're gonna put that in. Now you can come back. What's our other colors in the sky? We've got some orange in there. So you can put, you know, a few little lines of orange, okay? And then further down where we had that red violet, I'm gonna come further down here and put some of that in, okay? So there we've got our reflection pretty much of our sun. And up here, I'm gonna make it just a little brighter. There we go. So there's our reflection on the water, okay? And now, if you're using watercolor, you're gonna wanna let that dry. Dry, dry, dry. So you may wanna go outside and play, you might wanna watch a TV show, you might wanna eat lunch, and come back in a few minutes. The reason is, the next thing we're gonna put on here is our silhouette, and our silhouette is black. You have a silhouette when the light behind it is brighter than the light in front of it, so we just see it as a blackout. So I'm gonna put a little island, a little jut of land out here for right now. Okay, this one's gonna be flat on the bottom and just have little humps to it, like a little hill with something growing on it. I can bring that up a little bit. All right, and then across the bottom, that's where you know, someone looking at your painting would be standing, okay? So I'm gonna go all the way across with it, and I'll actually be covering up some of my water, okay? So there's the bottom, and that's kind of where we're standing, all right? Now, I love palm trees, so I'm going to put a palm tree from this land, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big and tall, and it's gonna go all the way up. So this palm tree is gonna start here, and I'm gonna go all the way up there. It's the biggest palm tree because it's the closest to me. And then palm trees just sort of have these spokes. There is a palm tree that's called the windmill palm, and it looks kind of like a windmill. And then after you put those spokes on, then with a tiny brush, you can just kind of let their branches sort of hang down like that. And I'm not filling it in solid, okay? Because I'm gonna kind of get that texture in there. All right, and this can just kind of hang off. And for now, I'm kind of happy with that. I'm just gonna leave that, okay? On this back little jut of land right here, that's kind of taken over. I think if I do anything, I might just do some little sprigs. I'm just moving my brush up, okay? Just up a little bit to kind of indicate that something might be growing on that land. Now over here, I've got plenty of space. It's further in the distance, so my palm trees are smaller, okay? Things look smaller in the distance. So we're gonna go 2 palm trees. How about that? They're shorter. And then again, what do? We put our little spokes. All right. So it starts out like a windmill. And then we kind of hang our little branches off of that, okay? Just kind of streak them down like little lines. And you know, this could be something you could actually do with a black marker. Let it dry, dry, dry completely. And then come back and put your black in. You could do it with that. So over here, we're just gonna do a little palm. Even you're like, well, that's up front. You said if it was up front, it's bigger. But you know, really they grow at different stages. So we could do a smaller one here, a shorter one. He's a younger palm. And then we're gonna do some streaks off of it. And we've got a palm on that side, okay? Now, if you would like on your water, if you're like, nah, I don't wanna do a palm tree, or I just wanna do one palm tree and then set a little sailboat out there in the water, that would be perfect. Just make it all black. Now, we've got shadow. So we are gonna come back with our black, and on the water, beside each one of our little, you know, and then we've got a palm tree that shadows. We're gonna draw some of that shadowing in the water, Okay, so that gives it the effect that it's sitting down. It's has a presence, and it's there where we want it. Okay, so there's your pretty little sunset. Have fun with it. Be creative, and enjoy all the colors that you can put on there. So we'll see you later.